What's going on, guys? Seth here with Seth Francis Sim Racing, and we are back in Gran Turismo Sport. This time we're here at Nordshleife. Once again, I'm going to give the Hyundai Genesis GR4 class a try here at Nordshleife. I like how it does on Brands Hatch, so have to see how it does here. I have done a couple races here at this track with that car, but not on my latest setup. I recently found a setup in Brands Hatch that I am liking so far. I still need to make some adjustments. It's kind of an odd setup, but as you can see, this is the setup I'm running. Haven't messed with the downforce yet, still need to experiment with that. These are my diff settings. Again, I know it's a bit odd, but seems to be working so far for this car, and these are my transmission settings. So it looks like we got 9 seconds to grid. Hopefully we got a good race ahead of us. I have got the live stream up on the laptop over here to my left, so try and glance over, see if there's any questions. Have a sip of my water here. Alright, here we go. Alright, we got some contact up here between that Mustang and that GTR. So far so good. Hopefully I don't make any big mistakes in this race. Hopefully it goes nice and smooth. Of course, this is me we're talking about, and that is not guaranteed. I am liable to fishtail out of control, slide off the track, or understeer into a wall from time to time. No, sir, I am not immune or immortal to the automotive accident gods. So let's see if this gearing is going to be okay. Little bit too short. If I'm maxing out there, I'll definitely be maxing out in other areas of the track. Wow, that Mustang came out of the sand first. Go figure. Oh, buddy. For real? Man, I guess I could have dodged him, but reflexes just weren't quick enough. Man, that is disappointing. All because somebody else couldn't keep their car in line. Backing up into a track. Not even making sure if they're clear. What are you doing, Corvette? Where are you going? Alright, I'm following my line, so you're gonna stop swerving, buddy. Was that Corvette trying to spin me out, or what was that? Something was hitting me. Not sure if it was that Corvette or that Hyundai right behind me. Oh, understeer, understeer. There you are. Quick to make me lose control of my car. See if I can catch up with these two cars up ahead. That was ungraceful, to say the least. Ungraceful. It's not even a word. Just gonna make words up as we go along here. That's alright. But the more I drive it, I have to say this Genesis, excuse me, is really growing on me. This Hyundai. For these GR4 class races, I would always pick the GTR, but the more I drive this Hyundai, I really like it. I'm not a big fan of the all-wheel drive in the GR4 GTR because it just understeers so heavily, and there was really nothing I could do anyways to tune that out. You know, through the suspension or the differential, no matter what I did, it still just understeered too much for this track. At least in this car, while this car does tend to understeer a bit, you can kind of pump the brake and rock the weight forwards onto the front tires to regain grip as you're kind of understeering. And of course, you know, you can rock the steering wheel back and forth like you normally do to regain grip, which will work in this car, but it just doesn't seem to help in the GTR. In the GTR, like, once you're sliding, or understeering anyways. Once you're understeering, that's what's happening until you slow down enough to get grip. This car's just a bit more forgiving. It wasn't so much with the stock setup, but with this really heavy cambered setup that I have now, along with a somewhat soft suspension setting, it really seems to grip up pretty well. Oh, went to see if anybody went to look at the laptop to my left to see if anybody was in the chat. Went off the side of the track there. That's okay. Good thing this is all for fun, right? The force feedback on this track is just, I don't even know how to explain it. They did a really, really good job. I would say that on this track in particular, the force feedback produced by Gran Turismo Sport, particularly with stiffer suspension or stiffer chassis and suspension vehicles such as like the GR4 class or the GR3, which are really just GT4 and GT3, but they call it GR4 and GR3. But anyways, the force feedback, you know, from a car like this Hyundai or the Nissan or even the Corvette on Nordshleife is just incredible. And what I was going to say before is I would venture to say that it's on par with some more advanced PC-based simulators when it comes to feeling the road and force feedback effects. There's still, depending on what wheel you use, I'm using a wheel that's not like a typically supported force feedback wheel, so it's really strong, a direct drive wheel. But so depending on, whoops, going off the track here, depending on what wheel you're using, if you're using a strong wheel, I am not a big fan of the heavy centering force right to the very center point of the steering wheel, because it'll tend to kind of make oscillations happen. And this happened in Gran Turismo 6 as well, and it's not as bad in this game. It is alleviated to some extent, but if you let go of the wheel, you know, there's still, even if you don't let go, like a lot of simulators, if you let go of the wheel, the steering wheel will kind of oscillate back and forth and could make the vehicle lose control. But like right now I'm holding the steering wheel dead straight and I can feel like a clunk, 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 clunk in each direction, so I have to force myself to hold it straight. It's actually one thing that makes you slower in some circumstances, particularly on like an oval track like the Blue Moon Bay that has the banked straightaway. You're constantly fighting the steering wheel rocking back and forth, and that's causing the car to shimmy, whereas if you're using a gamepad, that doesn't happen because there's no force feedback to move your steering axis. I like it because it's more realistic. Ooh, I got this car right in my tail. I like it because it's more realistic, but it's, I've noticed in this game, more so than other simulators, the feeling on center, where it kind of knocks back and forth between the left and right centering forces, is a bit exaggerated. With a T500 or a G29 wheel, it's really not very noticeable at all, but running like this direct drive wheel with the GIMX setup that I'm using, it's just so much force that you really got to kind of hold the steering wheel straight. I've been able to make some adjustments in the force feedback driver to alleviate that to an extent, just through some friction settings. But anyways, that was a fun race, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to stream another one right after this, so maybe I'll see you there.